All right. Good morning, everybody. Hey, it's Ed Winslow from One Page Case Studies, and I'm here with Marty Higgins from Family Wealth Management. And today we're going to talk about the demographic of a 35 to 50-year-old family and individuals and what their financial plan would look like and what they really need to consider when they're setting up their plan for the rest of their life. So good morning, Marty.
Morning, Ed. Good to see you again. Good to be here. So this is a fun cohort, if you will. They got a lot of stuff going on. They're fun for us to work with. It was actually a fun time in my life, too, going through that age bracket. So there's a lot of stuff going on. I think the issue, though, one of the main issues is that this demographic can be a slave to many masters. So I want to share with you some tools this morning that we use. And so let's get right into it. This would be what we call an asset map, and we put this together with the clients live. We build this. They could give us some stuff that we pre-fill, and then we go on live with them and start. So if we start at 12 o'clock and go around the horn here, so let's start up top. You've got the family, Julie and Tom, 3 children. We start with protection. Above their heads is the protection. So Julie has some group term life insurance, substantial whole life policy that she has. What jumps out right there is she's got an income of about $130,000 as vice president of marketing, and it's not protected. Her income is not protected. She has no income protection from work or individually. Just some things that would jump out at me. For Tom, he's got a $500,000 of term life insurance, and his income is protected. But the one thing is they're grossly underinsured for the life insurance if something were to happen to them with that loss of income. Yeah, they could pay off the mortgage and have some money left over for a bit. But as I told one individual, I said, what do you want? I want 5 years income. I think they'll be good. I said, what are you coming back? I said, 5 years income is not going to do it. We help them figure out what do they want to have happen. Is Julie going to stop working to stay with the kids? Is she going to continue her career? Whatever the decisions you make, there's a monetary value to it. So we help them estimate, if you want this to happen, here's what you have, here's where you're short. What do you want to do about it? But they've never seen that before, so they don't know. Nobody knows how much they need in protection. They buy arbitrary numbers. Why do you get that? Well, that's what the guy recommended. Did you do any analysis? No, he just said that's what he sold to somebody in the afternoon yesterday. So there's really no planning going on. And long-term care, probably a little early for that in their 40s, but critical illness, should somebody get cancer and Tom gets cancer, Julie's got to stay home and she loses all that income. Let me tell you, bad things happen to good people all the time, Ed. Just I gave 2 examples right now. I got an individual in his late 30s and an individual in his mid 60s. One has Lou Gehrig's disease. The other has who's the guy from Die Hard, Bruce Willis disease. Sad situations, but those families, as long as they planned well ahead, both of them did. They're both clients, and so that's important. Let's move over to the right. Around 1 o'clock, we have Tom's salary. These are shaded boxes. It means, excuse me, they either don't have it or it's coming later, like Social Security is coming later. So we just track it for them. He has an IRA, an annuity with AXA, Roth IRA. There isn't any. We're just asking if there is. An old 401k, and simple IRA. He was probably self-employed at one point, and there's college funding for the children, and they're still paying off their college. So these are the income and the assets or debt, and I'll address the old 401k in a second. Let's skip over to Julie, then we'll come down to the bottom. She's got her income, Social Security in the future, a Roth IRA brokerage, an active 401k, and an old 401k. So you got 2 old 401ks, one for each of them, totaling about $178,000. Here's the problem. Nobody's managing that for them. They're not invited to employee meetings at their old company to go over when the rep comes in. The rep's not calling them up, and they probably haven't changed anything since they signed up. So you've got mismanaged old 401ks that are probably might have been good selections at the time 15 years ago, not now. So they need help with that. Over to Julie, got future inheritance, it looks like. So we want to get that amount potentially. Looks like there's an issue caring for mom. We always use a family tree and say, are there any issues north, mom and dad on either side? And in this case, there may be for this Julie who's in the sandwich generation, raising kids and potentially caring for parents and trying to manage her career. It's a stressful time. So is there anything we could do there for mom? Is she sick already? Or they're just saying that is there still time to get insurance for that? And her credit cards and such. Down the bottom, we have joint assets, mutual funds, and the home. So what people want to know, particularly in this bracket, I found, they get to be around in their 40s. They regularly ask me this question: how are we doing? And they usually ask that question because they know they're doing good already. So they want confirmation. But what they ask for is, how are we doing compared to other people? People don't talk about their money in friendships at a cocktail party or something. They don't do it. They want to know, how do we compare with other people? This is where I can help them, because we're dealing with other people all day long. So we can put in some shaded boxes here for some of these things. I mentioned like critical illness. We could put different things that other people have done that would be helpful to them that are missing on their asset map. And what this tool is important for too, is that in most families, most every family, one person handles the stuff, the other person doesn't. So this is helpful for the person that handles everything to know where everything's at in a one-page snapshot. But how important is it to the person that doesn't do it to know how we doing? What do we have? Am I going to be okay? So it's very important for the person that's delegated that to the other spouse to be able to see this. This piece we've seen before in one of the other cohorts. We use it all the time. So from that asset map, we're going to say, okay, now what are the areas we need to address with them? So we start going down the left, the investment planning. Or do any of these boxes need to be addressed with them? Yeah, review of the portfolio, especially the old 401ks. Asset allocation is, do we have their assets pulling together in the same direction? Are they fighting each other? Is everything doing the same thing? So there is no asset allocation. Wills, you'd be surprised how many people do not have wills, or they're not updated. They're 15 years old. And do they have powers of attorney, a living will, healthcare proxies, things like that? Somebody asked me yesterday, our friends were talking to us about trusts. Do we need a trust? So we had a discussion on that. And if they're charitably inclined, what needs to be done? And guardians just for minor children. So we don't need a will, we don't have anything. You got 3 kids, okay? And who's going to get them? Okay, if you can state who's going to get them in the document. Absence of that, you could have family feud on who's going to take the kids. So things you need to address. Retirement planning, then. People, they're starting at this age bracket, they're starting to get serious about it as best they can. And we have a discussion. You don't go all into one. Like I mentioned to somebody yesterday, came in. She's got an inheritance. Her mom had passed away with us, and she's getting some money. So do I take my IRA I inherited and give it to my daughter to pay for school? I said, I want to tell you something I told somebody years ago. They actually repeated to me like 15 years later. So people do remember stuff. I said, you can finance, and her dad said, this is a writer downer, what he's telling you. So I said, look, you can finance an education. You can't finance a retirement. Okay. You can get student loans. You can't get retirement loans. If you get to retirement and you ain't got no money, you got a problem. You can't go borrow it. Okay. So you'll be able to balance that stuff out. As I mentioned earlier, slave to many masters. Yeah, I know college, retirement and everything, but it can be worked out. So we look through this column and what needs to be done. Risk management, the insurance. Do we have ample life insurance, disability insurance? Do they have the proper homeowners and auto and things like that? Spending, very important thing. We saw this couple didn't have any credit cards of any substance, but their cash flow and budgeting can be a dirty 6-letter word to a lot of people. So let's talk about cash flow. We help them with debt management, make good decisions. In the past couple of weeks, I've had one person, I said, let's pay off the credit cards. The other one, not yet. So we can look at each situation differently. Are there any one-time expenses that are coming up? Any large planned expenses that we're going to need money for? Or do they have the proper mortgages? A little too late if you didn't refinance during that under 3 rate environment, but 7's still low historically. My first mortgage was 16% in 1980. So things that I can appreciate, and 7's not that bad. Assistance to loved ones, where we already mentioned about mom. Tell me about that. We need to know a little bit about what that looks like. What are her assets? Not only just caring for the elderly, but a big issue in this cohort is divorce. A lot of times we're dividing up assets. My partner is a certified divorce financial analyst, so he works with the family law firms, and we have a lot of clients that go through that, and he works with them. He gets referred by the law firms. It's a specialty, but that is an issue in this age bracket. And over above everything is the income tax planning. We'd say, oh, I have an accountant. Yeah, but you have an accountant who calls you up in March and says, where's all your stuff? I'll tell you what you owe. But we do tax planning. We want to work with the accountant, make sure if you're making any decisions, you want to take some money out of certain assets, there's going to be capital, some realized capital gains, that he or she knows that ahead of time before next March. And we're looking for tax loss harvesting. A lot of times in a decline market, we take some losses and then pay the taxes on them now while the assets depreciated, and then let it accrue. Potential Roth conversions, a lot of discussion there, especially here in this bracket, because by the time they get to be retirement age, we're also in a low tax bracket environment historically. So we have a discussion with them about getting tax-free income in retirement. When Congress raises the income tax rates between now and then, you've got tax-free money, and the Roth might not always be around. So we want to take advantage of it now, max out their health savings accounts and such. So some of these areas may not apply to them at all right now. Some may apply later along the way. Some may never apply. So from the asset map going into our key elements sheet, then we start designing the financial plan. Here's our process that I designed about 25 years ago. The first meeting we call the right fit discussion. Basically, can we help you? Do you want us to? If I can't help you, I'll tell you. And you got to say if you want us to do it. So that's a discussion in our office, about an hour, where we go through showing you a lot of these things and mainly finding out about you, the family unit. Then we have the discovery dialogue. That's understanding people before numbers. We have a lot of data gathering tools to help understand them, their risk tolerance. We use some tools there. From that, the verbal and the nonverbal meetings, we get into the critical factors analysis, which is gathering all their stuff. So they get all their documents and everything. From those two meetings, we put together the family wealth blueprint, and that's their financial plan. We get into the implementation process. We have observations and recommendations. I give observations on their situation, a list of recommendations based on our experience of what they need to do. We will then prioritize those with the clients. You'll say, I want to do this first, I want to do this next. What's this? Don't want to do that. So we start knocking those out, set them up in an order, and then start knocking them down during the implementation process, which is the balance of the first year. As far as a service model, from my research at doing these interviews 25 years ago of what people wanted, we found out that a lot of times they had an advisor relationship or they did a financial plan, never heard from the person again. Like 5 years later, I mean, they haven't heard from them. I said, well, the plan, they didn't really do a financial plan. The plan was to get your money. Once they got your money, then it was just under the guise of a financial plan. We actually do real financial planning. We have the future focus system. We're going to schedule 2 to 3 meetings in our calendars a year in advance to meet and to make sure that if we're going to fly from Philadelphia tomorrow morning, I'm flying to Pebble Beach. So if I'm going to leave Philadelphia and go to Pebble Beach and we get like 10 degrees off course, I might land in Vancouver or San Juan or something like that. So we need to make sure along the way we're having checkpoints that we're still on course. So these regular meetings periodically scheduled in advance so everybody knows when they're going to be. Yeah, now something may come up. I'm going to be away, you're going to be away, but in that little window, we're going to reschedule. And we're talking about things going on in your life that you need a primary financial coordinator to talk to. Things going externally, whether it be in the investment field, income tax, legal, that we're getting some insights on. And we said that this could be important to you. We put on the agenda for your next meeting, and it's just better. A lot of our clients in this cohort, this age bracket, the demographic, are children of our clients, because our clients will say, who are older, they'll say, I wish we'd done this 20 years ago. Yeah, you're right. But how about your kids? Should they be doing it now? And they refer us to their children. We do a great job of doing that. We have a lot of our 4-generation family I've worked with since I've been doing this since 1976. So that's why I named the firm Family Wealth Management, for your family. And so this is our process. And as one person was in a couple of years ago, anesthesiologist's wife, she points at this, she goes, this is us, this is what we need. I said, I know, because people like you put it together for us. So we keep it up to date through client advisory board meetings and such. So that's our process. This is some of the issues that this demographic has, and we enjoy working with them. It's a lot of stuff going on. They need help, and we look forward to working with them.
All right. It's a really well organized outline.
Thank you.
Everybody really should, once you see this and you understand with clarity what you just laid out, I can see so many different applications. How many kids need this to set themselves up for long term? The other thing about it is that for small business owners, entrepreneurs, to see this before you start your business is really a big thing, because it really coincides what your personal financial plan really needs to coincide with your business plan and the risks that you're taking.
Yeah, and that's a whole different cohort. We can talk about that separately, because there's a lot of issues there with business owners. I mean,
I think that would be I'd love to talk about that in another interview, because I deal with a lot of business owners. I do coaching for a lot of businesses, internet coaching, how to use the internet to build your business. But something like what you're talking about here is so valuable, because it really needs to be part of it. It really shouldn't be a separate thing.
Yeah.
Your personal financial plan and what you're doing with your business, what's the purpose of your business, is to really build your personal wealth foundation.
It's all intertwined for sure.
All right, super. Thanks, Marty. This is great. And I'll look forward to seeing everybody on the next one.
Yep, glad to be with you. Have a good day.
Thanks.
Bye.